Glass is directed by M. Night Shyamalan, or as Quentin Tarantino calls him, M. Night Shyamalan. I can't even do it. M. Night Shyamalan. M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong. And this is the third movie in the, I guess you can call it the, some are calling it like the East Rail 177 trilogy. Others are calling it like the M. Night Shyamalan superhero cinematic universe, whatever. It comes after Unbreakable and Split, two movies that I absolutely love. Unbreakable, I think, is really, M. Night Shyamalan's best movie, and Split I thought was his best of his most recent movies. And this is the third movie where all the characters from those films, or all the main characters that have powers, if you want to call it that, come together. David Dunn, Mr. Glass, and of course, well, whatever you want to call him in Split, I guess you can say, because he's got so many personalities, James McAvoy's character from Split. I guess for the sake of, the movie, we should just call it Kevin Wendell Crumb, because that's kind of his character, or the Horde. So this movie, I was looking forward to it for a very long time, because when you first see Split, you're not supposed to know that it is in the same universe, or a sequel or whatever to Unbreakable. You're not supposed to know that till the very end. That was kind of the twist ending. And M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong is known for his twist endings. A lot of them have been really, really, really cringy. Some have been very well received, and others have been kind of, there's a couple of them, like, for example, The Sixth Sense. I called that one from the beginning. That one was very predictable, and everybody else loved it. When I was a kid and I saw that movie, I thought it was like, it's all right. It was overrated. But here we have the new movie. Now, first and foremost, I want to say that the acting performances of Sam Jackson, Bruce Willis, and James McAvoy are all phenomenal. James McAvoy did so well playing the Horde and all the different personalities. Dennis, Norma, Orwell, Barry, Patricia, of course, being the one of the major ones, Hedwig, the 9-year-old kid. He is incredible, and one of the things that I can't go into spoilers, but let's just say that I don't know if James McAvoy is ever going to get enough credit for doing this as much as he deserves to do, okay? That's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to get into spoilers right now. But anyways, also in addition to those characters coming back, because they're all good as far as the acting goes, we have characters coming back from previous movies, as well as some new characters. We have David Dunn's son being a major player in this movie, as well as Mr. Glass's mom being a major character. And they all kind of are there to be not sidekicks, that's not the right word to describe them, I guess you can say. They're attached to each of our main three characters in different ways. They're kind of the human version of the characters. Of course, the third one I'm talking about is Casey Cook, played by Anna Taylor-Joy, the teenage girl from the previous film. Now, the thing about the movie, all right, first and foremost, is I did enjoy this movie. I really did enjoy it. It's not your traditional superhero movie. To me, it falls under psychological thriller, and it's supposed to be M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong's analysis of what if superheroes were real. And that's kind of the main driving plot behind the movie. But the movie is a little bit disjointed in that the first sort of act, I guess the first third of the film, really builds up this rivalry between the Horde and David Dunn. It really builds that up, the Overseer, and he is, of course, a vigilante hero. It builds up that kind of battle, which does give you a bit of a payoff in the end, but then the second half, or the second act of the movie, really shifts over to Glass, and David Dunn doesn't really become a major player anymore. It's all about Glass and his entire philosophy behind trying to figure out whether or not these supernatural occurrences or superpowered beings are actually superheroes. And we find out how obsessed he is with comic books, in this movie. Of course, that's how he's always been, but it's explored a lot more in this movie. And meanwhile, the, I guess, opposite to him is Dr. Ellie Staple, who is a psychiatrist in the movie, who's trying to convince our three characters that they're not superhuman beings and that their powers are pretty much just, they can all be explained through science, essentially. There's different parts of the movie which tries to convince the Horde that, well, what you did was impressive, but it can be done. Like when he bent the bars, she pretty much was like, oh, well, those were old bars. I actually was able to pull them with a wrench. Yeah, you're strong, but you're not a superhero. You're very athletic, but you're not a superhero. Same thing with, of course, the abilities of David Dunn. Now, obviously, you will appreciate this movie more if you have seen Unbreakable and if you've seen Split. If you haven't, you're probably going to be lost. I mean, this is the third one of the saga. You're probably going to be lost, so make sure you watch those movies first. But if you're a fan of this universe, and I really like what M. Night Shyamalan's built here, you're going to like the movie, or at least like parts of it, but there are things to criticize about the film. I think the main thing is the ending of the movie. Now, first and foremost, I want to say, in my opinion, this is not the best of the three. It is the worst of the three. I think that Unbreakable and Split are much better movies. I think they're much better thrillers, and this movie I think really does fall under a thriller more than a superhero movie, even though there is a lot of action. Not that much action, but there's a couple fight scenes here and there. They're cool when you see them, but really the ending is what has people split, no pun intended. Some people have, and I've seen people talk about this, but I haven't actually looked at the spoilers until I saw the movie, of course. Then now it doesn't matter anymore because I know what happens, but I liked it, honestly. And I might be in the minority. Some folks hated this ending. I liked the ending. I liked it. I think there could have been maybe 2 or 3 better endings in this movie. I think there could have been better endings. The ending was a little bit, parts of it were a bit cheesy. The twist in the film, I think, actually does make sense. And that's the problem with other M. Night Shyamalan movies, that they don't really make much sense. But I do think that this, does make sense. And I enjoyed the ending, even though there are some things I wish they would have explored more. I do think that David Dunn's character got totally forgotten about in the second half of the movie until the very end. I think some of the stuff is a little bit unrealistic, to be honest with you, which, again, this is supposed to be a realistic comic book movie, realistic superhero story. What if they're real? Is it really superheroes? And the whole story is kind of like Mr. Glass, Elijah looking at history, or at the history of comic books, and saying these stories, not that they actually happened, but they were inspired by people who are superhuman. And of course you have the Dr. Ellie Staple character saying, no, it's all in your head. But then the ending side kind of happens, and you find out what's really going on, and it's like, I didn't think it was cheesy at all, except for a couple parts after the twist. The twist itself, I think, made sense. Honestly, I did like that. But one thing I will tell you that was kind of, I don't know if it's bad writing, I guess maybe M. Night Shyamalan didn't think it through. He also wrote the movie, by the way, was the fact that we've seen these characters do extraordinary things in previous films, and even in this movie. That's what they do. They're I don't want to say superheroes, but that's what they are. Like, that's the whole story here. They're super beings, meta-humans. And yet what's strange about this is, okay, so I understand that them trying to convince the characters in the universe that they're, not superpowered, but nobody in the audience believed it because we've seen them do crazy things. Like, nobody in the crowd watching this believed it unless they just weren't thinking. You know what I'm saying? Unless they weren't thinking, it didn't work. And that, to me, I thought was not very well thought out, in my opinion. And also, I feel like when they teased this big climactic showdown at the end of the movie that Mr. Glass has been kind of manipulating, and it doesn't deliver on the teases in the way that you think it does. It gives you something else, but it's going to depend on the audience as to whether or not it depends on you as to whether or not you like that or not. I actually was okay with it. I was kind of glad they did it the way they did it because, again, I'm viewing this movie, listen to what I'm saying, as a thriller suspense movie, not a superhero movie. If you're expecting this to be like a Marvel movie or a DC movie, that's not what this is. This is more of an analysis on metahumans, more so than anything that's like a Captain America movie or an Iron Man or any of that. You're just not that kind of movie. So, but overall, if you are a hardcore fan of Unbreakable and Split, you probably should check this out. If you're not a hardcore fan, even if you love Unbreakable and even if you like Split or love Split, but you're not like a huge fan of this universe, it's probably best to wait for the Blu-ray. I think in this instance, I would probably wait for Redbox. I don't think I would spend money on this movie in theaters because I think it's not. I'm not confident enough. I liked it, but I'm not confident enough that if you're just a casual that you're gonna really, really like this movie. It's also very, very slow in the middle part, but I liked it. I mean, the performances and the script carry it, but it's just not as good as the previous two, and I don't think it's worth spending your money on seeing. So those are my thoughts. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments, did you like Split? Not Split. That was the last one. I love Split. Did you like Glass? And what didn't you like? Did you like the ending? Let me know. Make sure if you talk about the ending, you write spoiler warning. Or actually, if you're watching this video and you don't want to be spoiled, just avoid the comment section. It's the smartest thing you can do. Thank you guys, and I will talk to you soon.